All right, let's get back into it.
Welcome back, everyone. We're continuing our deep dive into Emily Nagoski's Come As You Are. If you're joining us midstream, we've been talking about how our biological hardware isn't actually broken. It's just running on outdated software.
And today we're looking at the bugs in that software, specifically the massive glaring glitch called stress.
And let me tell you, my left eye is still twitching, so I am personally very invested in this chapter.
If you's all done with your personal dramas, can we look at this opening anecdote? It's pretty visceral. Nagoski starts with a kid coming out of anesthesia. He's batshit crazy pants, she says.
She doesn't hold back. He's screaming, flailing, yelling that he hates everyone, and this is the part that caught my eye. He's cycling his legs like he's trying to run away.
Right, and she connects that directly to the fight-flight-freeze mechanism. The kid is in a medically induced freeze from the anesthesia, and when he wakes up, his body is trying to complete the cycle. He's trying to run.
It's wild, isn't it? He's not actually in danger, but his body thinks there's a predator. He's got the feels.
The feels. Such a casual way to describe a full-on neurological meltdown. But look at what the mom does. She doesn't fight him. She just holds him, stays calm, and tells him he's safe.
And it works. He moves from the flight and fight back to relaxation and sleep. It's a complete cycle. And that's the setup for her main point here. The stress response is functional, but only if the context allows it to finish.
Which is exactly why she says, to have more and better sex, reduce your stress levels.
I knew it. I was hoping for a sex is actually a superpower twist. Instead, we get eat your vegetables for the libido.
Wait. Don't dismiss it yet, Paco. She's saying it's more than just relaxing. She's saying that stress specifically, chronic stress physically shuts down the systems we need for pleasure. She mentions that over half of women report stress, depression, and anxiety decrease interest in sex. It can even mess with fertility and physical response.
And it's more than feeling stressed. She breaks it down. Fear is there's a lion, run. Anger is there's a lion, kill it. And depression? That's there's a lion, cleave dead.
And none of those are good times to get laid.
They're definitely not. If I'm playing dead, I'm not exactly in the mood for a romantic dinner.
But look at the nuance here. She says for about 10 to 20% of people, stress actually activates the accelerator. They want sex more when they're stressed.
But here's the kicker. Even for those people, the liking part, the actual pleasure, is still blocked. You might want it, but the stress prevents you from enjoying it.
So you're basically chasing a high that your body won't let you actually feel. That's actually pretty devastating.
It's the information overload problem. The brain is triaging. If the brain thinks there's a charging lion, which, in the 21st century, might just be an unread email or a mounting pile of laundry, it prioritizes survival. Breathing, eating, staying in the group, sex is a secondary function. It's literally too low on the priority list.
And that brings us to this girl, Olivia. This part actually gave me chills. She used eating disorders as a way to manage her feels.
Yeah, she was using binging and exercising to cope with emotions that felt too big.
And she says something so profound at the end of that section. She used to walk through doors sideways because she thought she was too big to fit. But she realized it wasn't her body she was worried about. It was her anxiety.
That is heavy. It's like the physical world becomes a metaphor for the internal chaos.
It ties back to what we were saying earlier about the software update. Her software was trying to process massive amounts of anxiety by using her body as a target.
But Nagoski gives her a way out. She says that by using exercise to actually complete the cycle, to let that energy out, she's learning to manage it. And she says you can do the same thing with sex.
I don't see it. That's how the chapter ends. She's just standing there like, okay, how?
And then she hits us with the real problem. Our culture. We don't have lions anymore, so our stressors are chronic. They don't have an end. We don't run. We don't fight. We just sit there with the stress hanging in our bodies.
And our culture's solution is to just relax. Or, even worse, to sedate the stress away, which, as she points out, can actually lock you into a freeze state, leading to things like PTSD.
It's like we're stuck in a permanent low-grade freeze, wondering why our libido has gone MIA. We aren't broken, we're just never finishing the cycle.
So, we've established that the lion is still chasing us, even if it's just an unread email. But Nagoski points out something really interesting about our ultra-social brains. She says we're actually too good at self-inhibition.
Right, like we're actively sabotaging our own survival.
Exactly. She says we stop the stress response mid-cycle because, quote, Now is not an appropriate time for feels. We suppress the rage or the fear just so we don't freak anybody out or ruin social cooperation.
Which is basically the definition of being a functional adult in a corporate office. Don't freak anyone out, Jane. Just keep the panic inside your ribcage.
But she says that's exactly how we've locked ourselves into permanent fear and rage. We've literally eliminated all the appropriate times to actually process the stress.
And she says we have to build the time and space. We can't just grit our teeth and expect the stress to go away.
I love her metaphor here. She says, just as you can't grit your teeth and make a garden grow, you can't force a stress response cycle to complete.
So what do? Do we just sit there?
No. You have to remove your foot from both the accelerator and the brakes and allow yourself to coast to a stop. You have to create the context where your body feels safe enough to finish the movement.
And she gets very practical here. She asks, what does your body recognize as the behaviors that save you from lions?
And the answer is running.
Well, yeah. If a lion is chasing me, I am definitely not staying for a chat.
But since we can't run from a deadline, she suggests we mimic the movement. You run or walk, or get on an obstacle, or even just dance around your bedroom. She says physical activity is the most efficient strategy for recalibrating the nervous system.
It's more than exercise is good for you in a vague way. It's exercise is the literal biological signal to your brain that the predator is gone.
She also lists things like sleep, affection, meditation, even a good old primal scream. Though she does add a warning, don't just wallow in the stress when you cry.
Right. She mentions that if you've ever sobbed for 10 minutes and then felt that massive, heavy sigh of relief, that's the transition. From I am at risk to I am safe.
I like that she brings in the groomery aspect. She talks about the ritual showering, painting nails, putting on makeup as things that can transition you from a stressed state to a warm, social state of mind.
It's like a mini ritual to tell your body, we are back in the tribe. We are safe to be social.
She even says, and I love this, our fellow apes eat insects out of each enough fur. Maybe bath bombs and body glitter are the modern human equivalent.
Honestly, I'll take the glitter over the insects.
But she hits on a massive distinction here. She tells a story about these student educators who organized this huge sextravaganza event. It was a massive success. The event ended, but they were still totally exhausted and stressed.
Because they dealt with the stressor, the event, but not the stress.
Exactly. The event was over, but their bodies still thought the lion was chasing them. They needed to do something to communicate. You have escaped and survived.
Which brings us to the much darker part of this chapter. The part where the lion isn't just a metaphor for a bad day, but actual deep trauma.
Yeah. This is where the tone shifts.
She talks about women coming to her in private, too ashamed to even look her in the eye, because they have these grotesque, disturbing, sometimes violent sexual thoughts that they think make them bad people.
And she is so incredibly validating here. She says, I can explain why these thoughts don't make you bad people.
She links it back to intrusive thoughts and OCD, that the distress doesn't come from wanting to do these things, but from the fact that the thoughts are so contrary to who you are.
It's the anxiety manifesting as the very thing you fear most.
But then she moves into the heavy stuff, the real systemic stuff.
She doesn't shy away from it. She says we can't talk about women's sexual health without talking about trauma. She gives the statistics 1 in 5, maybe 1 in 3 women experiencing sexual assault.
And she explains the biology of it so clearly. Trauma is what happens when control is taken away and the body is forced into a freeze or shutdown.
The petrified shutdown, total paralysis.
Where the brain decides you can't fight and you can't escape, so it just disconnects, going into shock.
It's broken software, isn't it? When the survival mechanism itself becomes the barrier to being able to feel anything at all.
We've been moving through some incredibly heavy territory. We just talked about how the body uses freeze as a survival mechanism, and now Nagoski is looking directly at the most extreme version of that, sexual violence.
And she starts with this quote from Tom Tremblay. He calls rape the most violent crime a person can survive.
That's a heavy way to put it. A crime a person can survive.
It's because he frames it as an attempted murder, where sex is just the weapon. He's saying the physical intent is the same.
And look how she expands that definition of violence. She says it doesn't always look like a movie. There's no gun, no knife. Sometimes there isn't even aggression in the way we think of it. It's just coercion. The removal of choice.
Right? It's the theft of agency. And she explains why people don't fight back. It's not cowardice. It's the body choosing freeze, because it's the only way to maximize the chance of staying alive, or at least dying without more pain.
That is. That is heartbreaking. The body is literally calculating how to suffer the least.
And she pushes it further. She says trauma isn't always one big event. It can be a slow erosion, like a relationship where you say yes to sex because you're afraid of what happens if you say no.
Because you feel trapped, because the freeze has become your default, because you've learned that fighting or running won't work.
But there's this distinction she makes that I think is vital. She says survival is not the same thing as recovery.
Explain that, because to me, if you survived, you won, right?
No, because survival is automatic. It's that medically induced freeze we talked about earlier with the kid. Your body does it to keep you alive, often even against your will. But recovery? Recovery requires a completely different environment. It requires security. It requires the ability to finally let the panic and the rage out to actually complete those cycles we've been obsessing over.
It's like the body is holding its breath, waiting for the predator to leave. But the predator, the trauma, is still living in the memory.
And she brings in this couple, Camila and Henry. And honestly, after that heavy intro, I was bracing for a tragedy, but it's actually strangely hopeful.
Well, I hope so. I don't think my heart can take another attempted murder metaphor today.
Right. So Henry is a gentleman, a geek. He's dating Camilla, who is a survivor, and he's struggling with how to approach sex.
Because he's terrified of doing something wrong. He loves her enthusiastic desire, but he realizes she needs a massive amount of warming up before she can even get to that point.
And then she asks the question that makes everyone uncomfortable. Is it really desire and consent if she wants to want sex rather than plain old wanting sex?
Wait, what? That sounds like, I don't know, is that even consent?
It's a profound question, Paco. She's talking about the gap between the intent and the biological response. If your brakes are stuck on because of past trauma, you might be wanting the intimacy, but your body hasn't caught up yet.
Exactly. And look at how Camilla explains it to him. She uses this brilliant metaphor about her own hardware. She tells him, I don't have sensitive brakes. I have a stubborn accelerator. I'm a fully loaded moving van, accelerating from a dead stop at the bottom of a hill.
I mean, that's a hell of a way to describe a libido.
But the point is, she tells him, moving forward slowly isn't the same as wanting to stop, right? She's reassuring him that the slow start isn't a rejection. It's just the process of getting that pilot light lit.
It's beautiful, really. He's navigating her bands by focusing on the accelerator. He just needs to know she'll tell him when it's time to stop.
So, it's about building that trust. The context we keep talking about.
Exactly. But, and here's the pivot, she brings it back to the clinical reality. She explains how trauma fundamentally rewires the information processing for both the accelerator and the brakes.
This is the part that really hit me. She says that sensations or even sexy contexts that used to be pleasurable might now be interpreted by the brain as threats.
So, the software sees a romantic setting and triggers the brakes. It sees intimacy and says, warning, danger, shut down.
And she even mentions that the brain can become compulsive, like picking at a scab or a pimple.
Yeah. She says the brain can get stuck in a loop of trying to undo or rado the trauma through sexual behavior. It's not about bad choices. It's the brain trying to solve a problem it can't let go of.
It's so much more complex than just having a hard time in the bedroom. It's a deep structural attempt at healing that often goes sideways.
Which is why she recommends the top-down, bottom-up, and sideways approaches. She's basically giving a manual for recalibrating the system.
The top-down is the cognitive, stuff changing the thought patterns. The sideways is mindfulness. But the bottom-up, that's the somatic stuff. The bottom-up beals,
Like what we were talking about with the dancing and the running?
precisely, using the body to signal to the brain that the lion is gone.
She ends this section with a really poignant observation about why these bottom-up therapies take so long to become mainstream. It's because, as a culture, we simply don't trust our bodies. We try to override them. We try to think our enough way out of trauma.
And all we do is end up like Olivia. We lock the stress in, we suppress the feels, and we wonder why the software is so buggy.
I think I need to go do some stretching, or a primal scream. Or both.
I think that's a very healthy bottom-up approach, Paco. We'll see you next time.
I'm serious. My hamstrings are basically made of frozen cables right now. I need a literal minute.
Let's take it. I need to move a little bit anyway.